Hey guys, welcome back to another video. I'm LJ, if you're new to my channel. So today I'm gonna be showing you guys my technique that I use to prep my skin if I don't want to have any laugh lines. This is a technique that I've been using quite often in my voiceover videos. I just wanted to do a whole video to show you guys this technique because it's so important for me, especially when I'm applying my makeup and I don't want any creasing on my makeup, especially laugh lines, because that's really the only creasing that really bothers me when it comes to makeup. I have been struggling with laugh lines for years now. I feel like people with dry skin tend to have like really bad laugh lines, but there is a technique that I use that really helps with the laugh lines, the formation of the laugh lines. I've had on this makeup for about 2 hours now and it's there, but it's not like so bad to the point where it's just bothering me or I have to touch up my makeup every 2 hours. So yeah, that's what I'll be doing in this video, sharing with you guys my laugh line technique. So if you're interested, keep on watching. But if you've not subscribed to the LJ family, go ahead and subscribe and hit the bell so you're always notified of a new upload. And also thumbs up this video at the end if you liked it and you found this video very helpful. So without further ado, let's get into the video. So the first thing I like to do is start off with a freshly washed face, and I did also go ahead and moisturize my skin. I do this every morning to prep my skin for makeup. I like to cleanse and then moisturize my skin right before applying makeup. So the next step after moisturizing is obviously to put on primer. So for primer, it's best to go with the type of skin that you have. For me, I have dry skin, so I use more of a moisturizing primer that can kind of add hydration onto my skin, a little bit of moisture, just because when I apply makeup I don't want my skin feeling very dry. It's best to start off with primer, and for primer I've been really loving the NYX Professional Makeup Bare With Me Sunscreen Daily Moisturizing Primer. So I've used this primer a lot on my channel. It is my summer primer, so I'm just gonna apply this all over my face. So like I mentioned, it's best to just use a primer that you feel like is really good for your skin. If you use like a mattifying primer or like a hydrating primer, whatever works really well for your skin is really okay. I feel like moisturizers can also play as primers. Primer is just a barrier for your skin and makeup to protect your skin from the makeup. So it doesn't really matter what primer you use. It's just important to use a primer that you feel works really well for your skin. I love this NYX primer because it's a moisturizer and an SPF. So during the summer, it really protects my skin from the sun. So for the laugh lines, I usually apply an eye primer. So you just want to look for any eye primer that decreases the creasing on your eyelids. So for me, I like to use the Paintpot by MAC in the shade Groundwork. This shade is darker, so as you guys can see, it's a little bit more brown, a little bit closer to my skin than Soft Ochre. Soft Ochre is very, very light. So I like to use this one just because it's very close to my skin tone. So what I like to do is just apply this primer right where the smile lines are, which is right here. So I just smile a little bit and I apply a little bit on there. So an eyeshadow primer prevents creasing on the eyelids, so it also works if you're trying to prevent creasing like underneath your eyes or like around your mouth area. It works the same way. I've seen people using the Urban Decay eye primer. I feel like that one works as well. I just really like this one just because it really prevents the creasing on my eyelids. So I thought, why not just put it around my mouth area, and it actually works really well. You want to make sure that you're spreading it around. If you don't blend it out, it's going to peek underneath the makeup. I know this looks a little bit silly, but we're not done. So next step is foundation. So for foundation is the third most important step. So it's important for you to use a foundation that doesn't crease on you, doesn't move, because sometimes you can do all this and find out that the foundation is the problem. So for me, I like to use matte foundations. However, I don't like to use foundations that are too mattifying, because sometimes you find those foundations that are too mattifying, they feel very drying on the skin and they don't blend well, especially if you have dry skin. However, if you keep your skin moisturized, using a matte foundation really won't make your skin very drying when you're applying a matte foundation. So for the foundation, I'm going to use the Fenty Beauty Soft Matte Foundation. This one is in the shade 440. So with this foundation, it's not too matte on my skin. It doesn't feel too drying. It still feels very smooth on my face. It feels comfortable. I have tried other matte foundations that just haven't worked for me. This one is the best if I'm looking to be outside all day and I don't want the foundation to move. The Fenty Beauty one is a go-to for me. So I'm just gonna go ahead and blend this out with a beauty sponge. So you also want to make sure that you're focusing the foundation around your mouth area just to cover up that eye primer. So as you guys can see, like around my forehead area, it is a little bit harder for me to blend out the foundation just because that's what happens with matte foundations. But it's really not bad with this Fenty Beauty one. If I use another matte foundation that is even more mattifying than this Fenty Beauty one, my foundation would definitely not blend out. So if you have dry skin, it's so important for you to use a matte foundation that is a little bit easier to blend out. Another good foundation that I would recommend is the Too Faced Born This Way foundation. That is also a matte foundation, but it's not too mattifying. It's hydrating at the same time, so it's a little bit easier to blend, especially if you use a hydrating primer. So that would be another foundation I would recommend. So this is the finish of the foundation. This is what it looks like. I'm gonna try and smile a little bit. As you guys can see, no laugh lines so far. If I don't apply this Paintpot by MAC around my mouth area, I would already start seeing creasing on my mouth area. So far, like, we're good. So the next step is setting powder. You don't want to put too much setting powder, obviously, because you're going to go in with cream on top of the setting powder. I like to use a translucent setting powder just because it's translucent. It doesn't show. It just simply sets your skin without showing that color or that coverage on your skin. So the one that I like to use is the Mercier translucent setting powder. This one's in the shade medium deep. This translucent powder is very close to my skin tone. You definitely don't want to use a clear translucent setting powder just because it's going to look a little bit ashy. I'm going to apply this with a brush that I usually use to set my skin, and I'm just going to apply a very small amount, and I'm focusing this right where I get the laugh lines, like around this area right here, and that's just going to set that foundation and make it not move around that area. Just like that, as you guys can see, you don't really see the coverage of the setting powder. You can see a little bit of it, but once we complete the whole face, you're really not gonna see it. I'm gonna apply this e.l.f. Hydrating Camo Concealer. This is in the shade Deep Cinnamon. If you do have creasing around, like underneath your eyes, it works the same if you use the same steps under your eye area, like applying that Paintpot by MAC and then setting it with a translucent setting powder, then applying concealer. Alright, so I went ahead and contoured my skin. So I'm gonna move on to setting powder. For setting powder, I'm gonna use the Black Opal Deluxe Finishing Setting Powder in the shade Medium 03. And this is my go-to setting powder. I love the setting powder so much. Like, I use it so many times on my channel, but that's just because I love it a lot. A tip for people who get creasing right underneath their eyes, what I would do is right before setting under your eye, you just want to make sure to get rid of the creasing. So just going right underneath your eye and just blending out the concealer. Then immediately after doing that, you want to set. That will get rid of the creasing you get underneath your eyes. Is just blending out the concealer. Then immediately after that, setting your skin. And doing the same thing for this eye. If you wait like a couple of minutes, it starts creasing slowly by slowly. You're setting your skin with the creasing. So you want to make sure to get rid of the creasing, then immediately set it, just because once you use the setting powder, it doesn't move. The concealer can't move anymore. So that's just a little tip for those people who usually get creasing right underneath the eyes. So that is pretty much it. As you guys can see so far, it's been like almost 30 minutes of me doing this whole video video, and I really don't have any laugh lines right now. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna finish off the rest of my face, and then I'll be back maybe 30 minutes after I've already finished my makeup, so you guys can see what my skin looks like 30 minutes after. And then I'm gonna come back like maybe 2 hours after that, so you guys can see whether I form any laugh lines. So I'm gonna go ahead, finish off the rest of my face, and I'll be back with the final look. All right guys, so this is the final look for this video. So I did film this eye makeup look. I will be posting that after this video. So while I was filming this video, it took me about an hour and 30 minutes. Well, now it's been like 2 hours since I had to like do my hair and all that. So it's been 2 hours since I applied my base, and this is what my makeup looks like. So far, I literally see no laugh lines. Even after I smile right now, I don't see them forming. Usually they would form immediately after my base. I would say like 20 to 30 minutes after applying my base. But right now it's been 2 hours and I really don't see anything. Like, you can see a little bit, like a little stroke right there, a little stroke right there, but it's not like a significant difference. So usually when I apply my makeup and I don't use this technique and I start seeing laugh lines, it usually bothers me just because I have to keep touching up my makeup to get rid of those laugh lines. But this technique just really allows my makeup to last all day without me having to worry about like touching up my makeup or my makeup moving. I'll be back after 2 hours to show you guys whether the laugh lines form. I do know that they'll form just a little bit, but it won't be like a significant difference. So I'll be back after 2 hours to show you guys what the laugh lines look like. So it's been about 3 hours and 30 minutes and I just finished eating dinner, and this is what my makeup looks like so far. I see a little bit of the laugh lines, but it's not too much. It's not as much as it usually does when I wear my makeup out for 3 hours without this technique. So it really just improves like those laugh lines using that primer and also setting it with a translucent powder and using a matte foundation. Those three things put together really help minimize laugh lines, something that I've been struggling with for a long time, and I'm finally glad I have a technique to minimize it. So that's it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope this video was very helpful. If it was, leave me a thumbs up on the video. Don't forget to subscribe and join the family. Hit the bell so you're always notified of a new upload. But other than that, I will see you guys in my next video.